from the state controller's office. It turns out that of those 21 counties, Mendocino County's Employee Retirement Association has the lowest yield on assets or return on investment of all 21 of those counties.
Now,
the average...
because we talked to Tim about this. And Tim said they're in the top third of their return.
I'm glad you said that, because Tim Knutson has been as close to me as you're sitting now, and we've been eyeball to eyeball.
We've been on KZOX with him, actually.
Mano a mano. And he said to me, John, you're you want to be a whistleblower, but what you are is a guy just crying wolf. We're no worse off than most of those 21 counties, what do they call it, 1937 Act counties.
Yeah, and there's one or two other wrinkles.
And he says, in fact, we're in the upper third. He said, so just shut your pie hole. We're in the upper third. Just shut up and go away.
What I want to know is, here's the table.
Who's wrong?
Here's the data. Here's 10 years of data.
All right.
You can go straight to the state controller's office.
I'm going to hold it up.
No, we'll post it.
Hold it up. We're going to post it. And at the top it says... At the top it says Independent County Retirement Systems and MCERA Return on Investments. And where can our readers find? Well, they can find it on your site. So tell them where they can find it. Tell
RepublicMoney.com.
Right. Tell Tim Knutson where he can find it.
Well, he can find it at the state controller's office, which bases its report on the information which Tim Knutson and the other 20 retirement system administrators have provided to the state controller for the last 10 years.
All right.
And this table is sorted by the average. All I did is I took the yearly reported return on investment, made a simple average. Okay, it's not dollar weighted. It's just, okay, year after year, this is your returns. So over 10 years, here's your average. I sorted it from highest to lowest, and Mendocino is at the bottom. And what it shows is that over that 10-year period of time, our county's retirement system had a 6.6% annual yield on its investments.
The target is 8%. So
the target's 8%, and the average of all 21 was 9 something.
I think I'm going to be sick.
I don't know. I mean, think about this: 6% return,
9.7.
6.6 return is not that bad.
Yeah, but
especially nowadays, if you think about it.
Well, they did do 6% this
year. Negative 60%?
Right. There's a negative in there somewhere.
Okay, but let's go back to that statement from the Government Accounting Standard Board. The cost of those future benefits, the payments, happens today as a part of the cost of services, okay? So let's say let's just assume we know what those payments are going to be. There's two factors. How much do you invest? How much do you put into the retirement fund every year, and how much do you get a return? Well, what happens if your return isn't what you said it was going to be? What happens? Yeah. What does that mean about what the expense really was?
You have to adjust somewhere,
Yep. Okay, so if you say we're going to earn 8%, but you only earn 6.6, and if you reported $5 million of retirement expense in, say, the year 2000, but you didn't earn what you said you were going to earn, then is that $5 million the real expense?
I see.
It's not. So that $5 million, which you reported in 2000, is low. So sometimes significantly
Let's assume that the county has made some mistakes or some oversights or whatever you want to call it, and they don't have enough money in their retirement system. They're going to have to correct it at some point, right?
Well, what happens is the actuary comes along and does a calculation, and when what they called is an unfunded, it's a complicated term, it's an unfunded pension liability. When it goes over, say, 10%, that pulls a trigger, as I understand it, and all of a sudden the county has to begin to pay what it sees as an 8% interest expense.
Right.
Now, what that really is let's say you're $70 million short in the pension fund. Now, what the actuary is saying when he says that is, okay, I think today, let's say, the value today, you need to have $300 million in the pension fund today to earn 8% for the rest of all your current employees and retirees' lives.
Now, you said you need to have it in there. That's not necessarily true. You need to have it booked. You don't actually need to have the cash, but now
it needs to be.
But we don't have the money in there, do we?
It needs to be there, earning 8%.
But do we have that now?
Then the second question is, okay, how much you got?
Right.
Well, if you don't have what you need, then you have an unfunded liability.
And you go get a pension obligation bond.
And what happens is when it goes over, say, 10%, the actuaries start saying, okay, now you got to start paying 8% a year on that unfunded amount, because that's what needs to be going. You need to be earning that in order to make this work.
And that's essentially what Tim Knutson said we did in our last pension obligation bond offering in 2002. He said, well, it's true, the .com market blew up and our pension portfolios blew up and our return on investments is just fell right off the table. But and he said this to the courts, I believe, that he actually had Peter Klein, then county counsel, file a kind of a brief that accompanied an application to the courts. He said that the 2002 pension obligation bond wasn't really funding an unfunded pension liability created by the collapse of the stock market in 2002. It was refinancing this 8% at a lower interest rate.
Let me tell you how that works.
All right, because if I were the judge, I don't know who signed off on that, Judge Brown, or I don't know who it was, but they seem to buy the argument. Not one person in the county stepped forward, not one taxpayer in the county stepped forward to argue the other side of this. So it just was